NFL Week 7 is here, and you're watching the 4 Ps, parlays, player props, and predictions. In this video, I have 3 player props I love for Sunday, as well as an anytime touchdown parlay, which we've been doing pretty well on so far this season. If you are new, my name's Austin from Call on Our Shot. We're going to dive into the picks in just one moment. As always, we must recap how we did the previous day betting NFL, and it was a 2-in-1 day on Thursday Night Football. Troy Franklin, we appreciate him for coming out and doing his job. He got 5 receptions for 50 yards. He had a 30-yard catch. We love to see that. Our only loser, Juwan Johnson, did not come through. Hit his over interceptions, didn't get the yards. Spencer Rattler, he stinks. Let's be honest. That was a disgusting Thursday night game. But either way, let's dive into the picks for Sunday's NFL slate. We have a huge slate of action, and there are a bunch of free squares out there that I'm going to bring to your guys' attention. The first one is on Underdog Fantasy. It's for Aaron Rodgers to get you 1 yard. You only get that free square if you sign up using code COS. They'll also give you a 50% match on your first deposit up to $1,000. Pretty cool offer. Take advantage of that. We'll be doing a ton of Underdog Fantasy entries, including one in this video. And with the NBA right around the corner, hey, buckle up. We're going to have a lot of them coming forward this season. There's also another free square on Parlay Play. They don't tend to do a lot of free squares, but what I do love about them is they do alternate lines. You can do different things. Like maybe you like a guy for 50 yards and his line is like 65.5. You can take that over there. So I encourage you to check out Parlay Play. They also have a Trevor Lawrence free square for Sunday's obviously early game in London. Take advantage of that. But let's dive in. My last note, we have 2 other videos live for the NFL, so make sure you don't miss out on any of those. Number 1, we already posted this one on Friday morning. That is our favorite spread, money line, or total in every single game. We don't skip them. We give you our favorite spread, money line, or total. We've done really well so far this season. I'll link that at the top of the description. Right below that video, there will be one posted later tonight at 5 p.m. Typically, this is our video where we talk only about unders, but instead, it's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to give you 60 seconds where I have to give you 5 props, and you decide if you want to tail them or not. I really like that. So these are not the only picks in this video that we have. Check out those other videos. That won't be live at 5 p.m. Saturday evening. You guys came in for picks, though. Let's start with the anytime touchdown parlay. These 3 fellas are getting themselves into the end zone. Here we go. My favorite one of the weekend is Amon-Ra St. Brown of the Detroit Lions, but I also love Kenneth Walker III of the Seattle Seahawks and A.J. Brown of the Philadelphia Eagles. So we got 2 Browns in here, and then we got Kenneth Walker. I should have found another, maybe Noah Brown. If you want to make a Brown parlay, Noah Brown, you could throw him in there. But either way, I like these 3 guys to get into the end zone. Love their matchups. This is about plus 982 on FanDuel. FanDuel has the best odds. FanDuel does have a 30% boost token to use on an anytime touchdown parlay. So if you want to use it here, you can. I'm going to have a longer shot that I'll post on Twitter or X and obviously send early to our DubClub and those paying members. I'll have a longer shot one, maybe with 5 or 6 legs. Try to make the most out of that boost. But I do love all 3 of these guys. Wouldn't be shocked if they find their ways into my longer long shot parlay, if you get what I mean. But you guys came for some straight bets. Let's dive into the first one. I don't remember if I put him on the thumbnail or not, but I think I did. It's DK Metcalf. I love his over 65.5 receiving yards, minus 115 on Fanatics. Now I'd play DK up to 70.5. I think he is in line for a massive Sunday. Now, hopefully he sets us up and he gets down to the 1 yard line and Kenneth Walker III can punch it in. But why do I like DK Metcalf here? Well, I really think this is a good spot to back him. Now, Tyler Lockett's been banged up all week. He does appear he will play, but he could get injured and wouldn't surprise anyone. But so far this season, you've seen Metcalf. He's been kind of a beast. First week, only 29 yards, but then 129, 104, 104, then 55 and 48 receiving yards these last 2 games. So down in the last 2, and that did include a Thursday night game last week where he had 3 receptions, 11 targets. He had, I believe, a touchdown called back. He had another deep route that him and Geno just couldn't connect on. There was a lot of targets to go around. They just couldn't connect. Now you've had a kind of that mini bye week where you've had a game on Thursday. You obviously aren't playing that Sunday. So you got to have that mini bye week. I imagine him and Geno will get back on pace and back on chemistry in this week matchup against Falcons, which I like the matchup. So far this season, the Falcons are allowing the 8th most receptions to wide receivers. In 6 games, they've allowed 8 wide receivers to have 60 or more yards. So I put the list there. I'm not going to read off all of them, but you see multiple teams have multiple guys like the Saints and the Buccaneers. Well, obviously, the Seattle Seahawks could be one of those teams that gets multiple guys over 60, but if one of them is going over 60, you'd imagine DK Metcalf's going to be that guy, and technically we do need 66 yards here, but I love this spot for him. I think he's a straight mismatch for the Falcons secondary. I think the Seattle Seahawks will be able to run the football here, but we know if they ever get down they're chucking it. They will abandon the run at all costs, and wouldn't shock me if they do it again today. I don't really love their offensive line for blocking on the run. I think they'll have to pass the ball like they've been doing all season long. And we've seen Metcalf, you look at his other lines, his receptions line, 4.5, but heavily juiced. So they really juiced his 5+ receptions to -150, even worse on a lot of different books. So far this season, he only has 2 games with 5 receptions. He went over 100 yards in both of them. And of his last 22 games with 5 or more receptions, he's over this line in 17 of them. So I'm not saying take his over in receptions. That's too juiced. And I don't even think we need 5 receptions to cash the over here. I just think the books are saying, hey, we think this is a good matchup for him. We think he gets heavily targeted. I think DK Metcalf goes over 65.5 receiving yards for a 1-unit play. My second unit play, and I think I normally target a lot of pass catchers in this video, and today will not be any different. It is a rookie. First round pick, right? Xavier Worthy of the Kansas City Chiefs, over 36.5 receiving yards, -120 on BetMGM. Now, I was close to taking his rushing plus receiving, kind of combining them. The difference there is 44.5 to 36.5, so 8-yard difference. You can take the rushing plus receiving, but I don't think he gets more than 1 carry, and that means you need him to at least get 8 yards, whereas his regular rushing yards line is 2.5 or 3.5. So I'd rather just target the receiving yards. If he happens to get a carry that goes for 40 yards, I'll be in shambles, but it is what it is. Let me talk about why I like Xavier Worthy on Sunday against the San Francisco 49ers. Now, so far this season, Worthy is actually only over this line in 2 of his 5 games. So not a great hit rate. Last game versus New Orleans, prior to their bye week, we saw Travis Kelce continue to be pretty good the last 2 weeks. And we saw Juju Smith-Schuster have a huge week. Now, Juju is currently banged up. There's not even a guarantee he plays here. He was added to the injury report, or he has some sort of hamstring injury. I think he plays, but if he doesn't, obviously, I don't hate that for Worthy. And I think this is a game where you see them kind of get and use Xavier Worthy's talents. Now, obviously, I can't control if Pat Mahomes misses him. Pat Mahomes did miss him in their previous game. I was on a crosser route. And we know when the ball gets in Worthy's hands, he has explosive ability. And I think given a bye week, they're going to find different ways to get the ball to Xavier Worthy. I mean, obviously being a rookie, you're kind of drinking through a fire hose, trying to absorb every single thing. I think that bye week comes in and you can at least kind of take a step back, have the game slow down a little bit for you. And also, I think it's a great spot for the Chiefs to install some more plays and stuff for Xavier Worthy to get the ball. And we look at his receptions line sitting at 3.5. He's barely gone over that this season. His 3+ receptions is -210 or worse on a bunch of different books. And the 49ers are not a bad option to target against for wide receivers. 13 wide receivers have 3 catches against them. 9 of those 13 went over this line. We know he has the explosive capability to hit this over in just 1 play. I think that the 49ers are going to do a great job at stopping the run. They're going to make Pat Mahomes throw it. And I think when Pat Mahomes is throwing it, they're going to have to guard Kelce. They have Fred Warner, one of the best cover linebackers in the league. I think Worthy's going to have to step up and make some plays. Obviously, he has the speed mismatch against anyone, so if he can just run some crossing routes, Pat Mahomes can extend some plays, hit him downfield. Wouldn't shock me there. I just don't think Juju's in for another big game. I think this could be a big Worthy game, so give me his over in receiving yards at 36.5. Hey, I think that's way too low. So I'll take it, take a stab at that. You can take him to 50+ if you want some good plus money. I'll just take the 36.5. So go Xavier Worthy. My third and final play of this video is a New York Jet. And we've taken him a few times this year. He's typically respected our money. We're coming back to him. It's Garrett Wilson of the New York Jets, obviously over 50.5 receiving yards, -114 on FanDuel. Now, I'd play this to 54.5, give or take. The line could obviously move as news comes on, as this is a Sunday night football game. We know the big news of the week, Davante Adams traded to the New York Jets. While that obviously is going to limit maybe the upside of Garrett Wilson, I think that actually really helps him in this matchup here, and I'll talk about why. And I honestly think it might not be the best move for him long-term in terms of if you're like in a fantasy football or maybe you're on a season-long overs, but I think this is a perfect spot to back Garrett Wilson, and I think he's going to absolutely destroy the Steelers secondary. Now, if you look at Davante Adams, I don't expect him to be limited at all. He's obviously had this hamstring injury. I think he probably could have played a week ago, but they obviously were trying to trade him, so no reason to rush him out there, and if he gets injured, you're kind of screwed trading him. But he's going to likely draw the shadow of Joey Porter Jr., the Steelers cornerback, who I think is their best cornerback, and by a long shot. So I think he follows around Davante Adams, and instead you see Garrett Wilson be able to move around, and they probably go to the slot, which is where I think he has a huge mismatch here, and he probably will have a mismatch there the whole season long. Garrett so far this season, 60, 57, 33 and 41, and then 100 plus yards the last 2 weeks. So him and Rodgers have really been getting into good chemistry. Obviously, the line would be much higher if Garrett was the only number one wide receiver here, but with Devontae in there, you assume he's going to take some usage. I do too. But of the two games that you've seen him go under, it was against Pat Surtain II and Christian Gonzalez, two elite cornerbacks. And you saw Rodgers kind of avoiding those guys. I don't think he avoids Joey Porter Jr. because he's probably guarding Devontae Adams, who, obviously Rodgers is going to try to get in rhythm pretty quickly. But I still think Garrett Wilson and him have kind of been showing a much better connection. Garrett had his best game last week with Rodgers, and I really think their connection is building, and I think it's growing, and I think it's the best it's been so far together. And I think it's a great spot to back him with going up against those secondary cornerbacks and coverage guys for the Steelers. Look at the last few weeks, we've seen opposing wide receivers 2 or the second pass option on a lot of offenses have big days. Brock Bowers last week, 71 yards. Sure, Brock Bowers is not the number one option. He's a tight end, not apples to apples, but he is the secondary pass option. It's kind of what you've seen. Jalen Tolbert of the Cowboys, he had 87 yards. Before that, Josh Downs had 82 yards. So you've seen a lot of number 2 wide receivers have big days. Josh Downs is a guy that goes in the slot, which is where I think Garrett Wilson will slide to. And while I think Devontae gets his on Sunday Night Football, I think Garrett Wilson's going to get his as well. I think he's going to be open a ton. That if the Steelers want to provide some pressure, and even if they don't want to blitz, go for it. You're going to be seeing the ball get out of Aaron Rodgers' hands quickly. And I think that's going to bode well for guys like Garrett Wilson, who we've seen kind of have that chemistry where, hey, we're going to throw you a screen and you got to take it up and go make some guys miss. And he's been able to do that all season long. So I think you'll see Garrett Wilson if you want to take his receptions. I don't hate that at 4.5. It's a little more juice than I wanted. I'm -125 instead. Just take his over in receiving yards at 50.5, -114. I think Garrett has in for a big day. I don't know if he has a big day every single day now that Devontae Adams is there, but this matchup is one that I really like for him. So my 3 player prop overs in this video: DK Metcalf, Xavier Worthy, and Garrett Wilson, all over in receiving yards. We have the anytime touchdown parlay. Hopefully that smacked. And of course, I will have another video posted on Saturday evening at 5 p.m. Might already be live by the time you're watching this, with a bunch of other prop overs that I love. I definitely encourage you to go tap into that. I take 60 seconds to explain each of them. So it's pretty quick video, pretty fast paced. Go check that out. I'll link it on the screen somewhere over here. My favorite spreads, moneyline totals is there. And we should have day 2 of the ladder challenge posted in a little bit. Also, sign up for Underdog or sign up for Parlay Play, and or both. Do it. You get a free square, and make sure you use our code COS or the link in the description, and they'll match your first deposit. Have a great day. Good luck on your picks on Sunday, and I'll see you guys live for some other videos. See you then. Peace.